Maseneta wamkemea vikali mheshimiwa waziri wa utumishi wa umma Moses Kuria kwa kuingilia masuala ya seneti. Hii ni baada ya Moses Kuria kuenda katika mtandao wake wa X na kuandika kuhusiana na kesi inayoendelea katika bunge la seneti kuhusu Kawira Mwangaza, gavana wa Meru.
On behalf of the Senate, I want to register my disappointment in the increasingly unbecoming conduct of Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria, a man who's continually embarrassing the appointing authority and casting serious doubts on the choice ability of none other than His Excellency, the President. Mr. Speaker, sir, that tweet was in bad taste. It paints senators as cheap people who have no cognitive abilities to make interpretation of the matters that are before us and make a sober decision that is in the interest of the Constitution and the people of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, this is the 14th impeachment hearing that the Senate is hearing, and I've had opportunity to vote in almost all of them. I take great exception in the conduct of Moses Kuria, in the tweet that he sent out, and the things that he said about this House and the colleagues that he's listed. In fact, Mr. Speaker, I now agree with members of this House who have brought censure motion before to discuss the conduct of this particular minister, because at every given opportunity, he has done nothing other than embarrass the appointing authority. In fact, it is my submission, Mr. Speaker, that the earlier CS Moses Kuria is let off his duty, the better for this administration, Mr. Speaker. Because every single day, in every action that he undertakes, he continues to embarrass the president and the people. No wonder the people of Kiambu resoundingly rejected his bid to be their governor, Mr. Speaker. It's because of this kind of habit, the kind of things that he says, how he goes about his duties, Mr. Speaker, and overall, his conduct as a human being. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, let Mr. Kuria know, wherever he is, that senators cannot be intimidated, that the kind of monkey business he's trying to introduce cannot be allowed to stand, Mr. Speaker, because this is a distraction.
Senator Kojong.
Mr. Speaker, first allow me to congratulate you for your resilience. The communication being referred to was made at exactly midnight, and that is a sign of the commitment of this House. Mr. Speaker, you are a bit lenient in your communication. I don't think that such conduct should just be reprimanded and left at that. Mr. Speaker, I want to urge you that this particular cabinet secretary who uses social media to disparage the House, to refer to matters before the House, to speak of the House in a manner that is extremely demeaning, that this particular person be summoned to appear before the House and to be summoned to substantiate those claims that he has made. Because, Mr. Speaker, those kind of utterances have got the effect of belittling this House and taking away any credibility this House would have in future impeachment. Mr. Speaker, the many impeachments that we have processed in this House, if the conduct of CS Moses Kuria was to be considered, his conduct falls within the threshold of impeachment. If he was a governor, and if he was brought to this House, he would definitely be impeached. And Mr. Speaker, I want to urge the members of the other House, because they're the ones who have the responsibility of censuring and sending home cabinet secretaries, to take serious judicial notice of the conduct of this particular cabinet secretary, and this House, through the relevant committee, can come up with resolutions that can then be used to move the other House to discuss his conduct and to have him censured. And I hope that Senator Cheriot, because you've got the ear of the president who's the appointing authority, let us not just complain in this House. Go and tell the boss that this guy is an embarrassment, not just to the government, but to the Republic of Kenya. He is an embarrassment to the entire East Africa. The deals he has done has made Kenya look like a pariah when it comes to issues of supply chain of oil and edible oil. Mr. Speaker, this man must go. We must pronounce ourselves.
Senator Kathuri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity also to give my comment on this irritating behavior of the CS for public service. Honorable Speaker, the process going on in this House is very, very important for the people of Meru who I represent in this House, Mr. Speaker. And when I see as just a log CS gets out there to make some very funny comments on social media, it is very, very embarrassing, and he is not serving, or whatever he is doing is not for the best interest of the Meru people. And I want to warn him that they should keep off Meru affairs. Let them concentrate with the work that he has been given by the president. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, I will request actually on this matter, the other majority leader on the other house to actually start processing an impeachment motion to this CS. And Honorable Speaker, on this matter, as Honorable Kajwang has put it, after this process is done, I would request that Moses Kuria is called back to this House, is brought before us so that we can discipline him. Otherwise, he is an embarrassment to the people who voted for the Kenya Kwanza government. And he should be relieved of his duties immediately. So the president should take notice what this House has, the comments you are giving us this House, Mr. Speaker. And I want from now henceforth, let Moses Kuria give us peace as a Meru community. We don't want his support. We know what we want, and we know what the best we can do, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Sifuna.
Mr. Speaker, I am happy that we have come full circle, because this is something that I have said on many stages, that in fact Moses Kuria is an incorrigible national shame. Mr. Speaker, one of the things that I ask myself is just how much embarrassment does the president have capacity to endure? And I can assure you that if nothing is done about Moses Kuria, there is more embarrassment coming. That one I can guarantee. Mr. Speaker, what is most hurtful is that even after your communication, the CS who ordinarily should be asleep thinking about how he's going to make the lives of Kenyans better had the audacity to fire off another tweet on material that was presented before this House. Mr. Speaker, what I want us to do, honestly speaking, action must be taken. I am actually made aware by the members of this House who represent us in the PSC that Moses Kuria ran away with money belonging to Parliament. He should actually be brought to answer questions about those things and removed from his position, because for me, really, there's nothing that brings me greater joy than being proven right about the things that I've said about this administration. And I just want the majority leader, please, about this administration, because as you have said yourself, it casts very serious doubt on the capacity of the appointing authority. How much embarrassment can the president take? It's just one man, Mr. Speaker. So what we want to do, as they said, there's a famous poem by Martin Niemöller. First, he came for the media. And when I brought a motion of censure for the media, some of you are saying, oh, Sifuna is in the habit of attacking this government. Now he has come for the Senate. Do something. Do something about this national shame, because it will continue unabated. That is who Moses Kuria is. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Wamatinga.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. I also like to weigh on this important matter. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is time that we as a country would stand up and be counted with one voice and tell the president that he should not be held hostage by some of these log ministers he has appointed to the government. Mr. Speaker, sir, at this time when Kenyans are suffering from high cost of living, the least that we need are these ministers who cannot even pronounce them to the policy direction, but instead they take it to the tweet and the media to actually abuse and belittle this House. Mr. Speaker, sir, I do join ranks with my colleagues. It is the high time we tell the president he must put the House in order. Some of these cabinet secretaries, Mr. Speaker, they are a big shame to the nation. The only thing that they can do, Mr. Speaker, when we complain of high cost of living, they tell us to go and dig our wells to produce our oil. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is unacceptable. And I would want to put it in no unmistakable terms. Central region is no shortage of intelligent people who are capable of learning the docket that Kuria is learning, and he should be shown the door as early as today, Mr. Speaker. We have the power, Mr. Speaker, to tell the president that indeed such a CS like Moses Kuria should be fired, if not yesterday, today in the morning, Mr. Speaker. It is a great shame to this House and to the nation indeed that someone at the middle of the night, instead of addressing the pertinent issues that are confronting Kenyans, he would take with a cup of Mr. Speaker, sir, he should be fired.
Senator Onyonka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute on this important matter. Mr. Speaker, I just want to generalize my comments because there's an observation I have made. Many of our leaders want to destroy institutions who have a responsibility of making sure that our country runs properly. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Moses Kuria is somebody I've been in Parliament with for many years, including yourself. To a large extent, we have found him extremely intelligent and somebody who made sense. To some extent, he makes himself look such a foolish man, you wonder whether he even ever stepped into a parliamentary house. And yet, sometimes Moses doesn't understand that what he says means a lot to Kenyans. And indeed, our words have consequences. I would really want to plead with him and many other leaders to realize that these houses, the National Assembly and the Senate, are not just talking shops. This is a place where we discuss national policy. This is a place where we influence public opinion. And this is a place where it is assumed that we'll be providing direction on where our country is going. I really would like, Mr. Speaker, to plead with anybody who knows Moses like I do and many others. We talk to him and tell him that he has to up his game. At this rate, all of us are going to become his enemy. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, honorable senators, we've done 3 senators each from each side. Now, honorable senators, this cannot be a house of lamentations. This is a house of action. Pursuant to the point of order that has been raised by the majority leader, I implore upon you, honorable senators, to use or to take full advantage of the standing orders to bring sanity to some of these CSs. You have the power under the law, more particularly under standing orders, to deal with the kind of behavior that you're complaining about. So, honorable senators, if you feel indeed that the behavior of the CS is unbecoming, then invoke the relevant standing orders. If you listen to Senator Kajwang carefully, you may not be able to have that latitude to make a final resolution to send the Honorable CS home. But your recommendation to the other house will have a lot of weight. So kindly take full advantage of our standing orders and stamp your authority.